Hello. Sorry, good morning, good afternoon, good day, whatever time of day it is for you. Hope you're having or have had a blessed day. If you've changed your vocabulary as we have discussed and changed lucky to blessing, kind of removing the word luck or lucky from your vocabulary, replacing it with the word blessing, I'll guarantee you're having or have had a blessed day. Tried to blow my nose there. That was an exercise in futility. Anyway, my sinus pressure is so bad last night it woke me up in the middle of the night and I couldn't sleep. It's because I'm having to lay down all the time and it's driving me insane. And for those that don't know, it's a short drive. Okay. Today we're in Deuteronomy chapters 23 and 24. Man, that means we're only like 10 chapters from the end of Deuteronomy. I think. 34? 30. 30. 34. When we will clearly hear about the death of Moses. Now, we talked about how Numbers is like a transition book. And we're getting in Deuteronomy where we're actually getting to kind of go into and see the new promised land. So, Moses has to die, right? Because God has already said, you're not going to get to go, right? So, we will get to that too in the next 10 chapters. All right, here we go. Well, this is... Jasper, quit. Quit. I'm not going, we're just going to start reading and then I will dive in where I need to. Now, I know I didn't talk to, you know what, we'll talk again. A man should not marry his father's wife, nor shall he dishonor his father's bed. No one whose testicles have been crushed or whose penis has been cut off may come into the assembly of the Lord. Well, no transgender people, right? Eunuchs. You know what a eunuch is? I'll let you go look that up. It's a very historical thing. They got used a lot in the court of kings and emperors and things like that, so that they could serve everybody without serving the ladies, right? Anyway, no one born of an illicit union may come into the assembly of the Lord, nor any descendant of such even to the 10th generation may come into the assembly of the Lord. No Ammonite or Moabite may ever come into the assembly of the Lord, nor may any of their descendants even to the 10th generation come into the assembly of the Lord. Because they would not come to meet you with food and water on your journey after you left Egypt, and because they hired Balaam, son of Beor, from Pethor and Adam Naharam to curse you. Remember that, right? He wouldn't curse them because he's like, no, God said don't. But you remember that, right? He hired him, had him come to him, brought him to him. Curse him. How can I curse people that God has blessed? You're doing what I didn't say. He tries like 4 times. It don't work. Okay. Just remember this stuff. It's little stuff, right? But if you pick up little stuff as you read the Bible, by the time you get all the way through it, man, you've picked up a lot of little stuff. I'm sorry. Moving on. Here we go. The Lord your God would not listen to Balaam, but turned his curse into a blessing for you, because the Lord your God loves you. Never seek their welfare or prosperity as long as you live. Do not abhor the Edomite. He is your brother. Do not abhor the Egyptian. You are a resident alien in his country. Children born to them may come into the assembly of the Lord in the 3rd generation. When encamped during an expedition against your enemies, you shall keep yourselves from anything bad. If one of you becomes unclean because of a nocturnal emission, a wet dream, I don't know what it's called, a nocturnal emission, He shall go outside the camp, he shall not come back into the camp. Toward evening he shall bathe in water, then when the sun is set, he may come back into the camp. Outside the camp you shall have the place set aside where you shall go. You shall keep a towel and your equipment, and when you go outside to relieve yourself, you shall dig a hole with it, and then cover up your excrement. For the working militaries have done that ever since then, because it's just a good idea. If you're living in the same place where you... Right. There's no saying, don't just where you eat. Bury it if you do. Anyway, since the Lord your God journeys along in the midst of your camp to deliver you, to give your enemies over to you, your camp must be holy, so that he does not see anything indecent in your midst and turn away from you. You shall not hand over to their master any slaves who have taken refuge with you from their master. Let them live among you in any place they choose, in any one of your communities that seems good to them. Do not oppress them. I tell you a lot of time, this book beats slavery to death without actually saying you gotta abolish it. But boy, it beats it to death. No slave that is treated the way you're supposed to be treated in the Bible would consider themselves a slave even. It was trying real hard without saying can't do it. It was trying real hard to say, if you're gonna do it, you gotta treat them like brothers, like family, like people you love. Alright. Sorry. Let them live among you in any place they desire. Do not oppress them. This one's gonna punch some of you in the face, but okay, listen. There shall be no temple prostitute among the Israelite women, nor a temple prostitute among the Israelite men. You shall not offer a prostitute's fee or a dog's pay as any kind of votive offering in the house of the Lord. This is number one. I tell you all the time, don't read anything in a box. All men are dogs. That's where this comes from. A dog's pay. That was a man prostitute. Right? Then what he got paid was a dog's pay. And you're saying, I know, temple prostitutes. It's a weird thing, right? This is debated. It depends on the theology you listen to. Some theologies will tell you that this is simply talking about male and female prostitutes of the temple area, right? Not of the temple, but some will tell you, though, that it's more about Kadesha, something like that. And it was a goddess of fertility. My historical brain tells me that it's just talking about the prostitutes. That we're making something out of nothing here. But I don't teach theology and I don't know. So, in any case, you know, don't be using money you got for illicit actions to tithe or to pay God, because it's dirty money. You understand? It's unclean, dirty money. God does not want that. It's one of those great debacle questions for priests and preachers and stuff. Right? The guy robs a bank. And on the day he leaves town to get the heck out of Dodge, he leaves $50,000 at the church because he loves the church. Now, the right thing to do is to turn that money in. There's no question, no argument, no nothing. But boy, how fast could you rationalize it? How fast could you rationalize but giving it to the church and using it for God's work? How fast could you rationalize it? And pick that money up. What if you don't know where the money came from? What if he left it overnight? Everybody kind of thinks, kind of knows he left it there. It's from the bank run. But there is no evidence. There's no proof. You just have a feeling. Do you let the church have the money? It's tough, isn't it? It's funny how fast we will rationalize things that we know to be not quite right. Anyway, sorry, here we go. Well, this one right here, I don't know very many people that don't fail at this one, except for my buddy, I can't say his name, I don't want to mess, but across the street that loves me. Because he lets me borrow money and never asks me for a thing. You shall not demand interest from your kindred on a loan of money, or of food, or of anything else which is loaned. From a foreigner you may demand interest, but you may not demand interest from your kindred, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertakings on the land you are to enter and possess. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, you shall not delay in fulfilling it, for the Lord your God will surely require of it of you, and you will be held guilty. Should you refrain from making a vow, you will not be held guilty. But whatever your tongue utters, you must be careful to do. This is another one of those spots where it's like when Christ tells us, let your yes mean yes, your no mean no. Don't freaking lie, right? Yeah, but whatever your tongue utters, you must be careful to do. Just as you freely vowed to the Lord, your God, with your own mouth. When you go through your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat as many grapes as you wish, until you are satisfied. But do not put them in your basket. Right? Walking through the graveyard, eat some grapes on the way through, it's fine. But you're not picking them and putting them in your pockets in a basket to take them home. They're not your grapes. To eat what you need is perfectly acceptable. To take more than you need is sin in this case. Right? But do not put them in your basket. When you go through your neighbor's grain field, you may pluck some of the ears with your hand, but do not put a sickle to your neighbor's grain. You can pick a few and munch on them on the way through. That's perfectly acceptable. Don't try to harvest it, though. It ain't your grain. Right? Chapter 24. When a man, after marrying a woman, is later displeased with her because he finds in her something indecent, and he writes out a bill of divorce and hands it to her, thus dismissing her from his house. If on leaving his house she goes and becomes the wife of another man, and the second husband too comes to dislike her, and he writes out a bill of divorce and hands it to her, thus dismissing her from his house, or if this second man who has married her dies, then her former husband who dismissed her may not again take her as his wife, after she has become defiled. That would be an abomination before the Lord, and you shall not bring such guilt upon the land the Lord your God is giving you as a heritage. Don't read more than that is. Don't cheat on your husband, don't cheat on your wife, y'all. Pete's sake. Wedding vows are a sacrament. Wedding vows are sacred. Don't take them flippantly. Yep. Anyway. When a man is newly wed, he shall not go out on a military expedition, nor shall any duty be imposed on him. He shall be exempt for 1 year for the sake of his family, to bring joy to the wife he has married. Boy, if we would just do, you know how many people in this country alone, I ain't talking about the whole world, I'm just talking about here, has shipped off to war with their wife at home pregnant and never come back. It's a lot. What a good rule. Of course, I know, right? We had that rule here, everybody going and getting married right before it's time to ship out, so they don't have to ship out, right? I know, but what a good rule. Anyway. I mean, giving them a year, that could give them enough time to have a baby, see it born, the whole 9 yards before they have to ship off to war. Anyway, I'm sorry. No one shall take a hand mill or even its upper stone as a pledge for debt, for that would be taking as a pledge the debtor's life. If anyone is caught kidnapping a fellow Israelite, enslaving or selling the victim, that kidnapper shall be put to death. Thus shall you purge the evil from your midst. In an attack of scaly infection, so skin diseases of any kind basically, you shall be careful to observe exactly and to carry out all the instructions the Levitical priests give you. As I have commanded them, observe them carefully. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the journey after you left Egypt. Sorry, y'all. When you make a loan of any kind to your neighbor, you shall not enter the neighbor's house to receive the pledge, but shall wait outside until the person to whom you are making the loan brings the pledge outside to you. If the person is poor, you shall not sleep in the pledge garment, but shall definitely return it at sunset. I apologize, I'm really... anyway. If they're poor, don't sleep in their thing and get back next day. They may need it that night. That's it, right? But shall definitely return it at sunset, so that your neighbor may sleep in the garment and bless you. That will be your justice before the Lord your God. You shall not exploit a poor or needy hired servant, whether one of your own kindred, one of the resident aliens who live in your land within your gates. On each day you shall pay the servant's wages before the sun goes down, since the servant is poor and is counting on them. Otherwise the servant will cry to the Lord against you, and you will be held guilty. Parents shall not be put to death for their children, nor shall children be put to death for their parents. Only for one's own crime shall a person be put to death. You shall not deprive the resident alien or the orphan justice, nor take the clothing of a widow as pledge. For remember, you were slaves in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you from there. That is why I command you to do this. When you reap the harvest in your field and overlook a sheaf in the field, you shall not go back to get it. Let it be for the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all your undertakings. When you knock down the fruit of your olive trees, you shall not go over the branches a second time. Let what remains be for the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow. When you pick your grapes, you shall not go over the vineyard a second time. Let what remains be for the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow. For remember that you were slaves in the land of Egypt. That is why I command you to do this. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Pray today. Yeah. Pray about things we talk about leadership. Whether that be religious or secular, it doesn't matter. They all need prayers. Pray about this war going on. Look, y'all, it's real simple. If we wanted to end it, we could. But if we do that, then everybody looks at us and says, "Oh, you horrible people. Look what you did." So I don't know what an answer is here. All I know to do is pray, because God does know an answer. I don't have to. When you are in your prayers, pray about your sins, ask for forgiveness, ask Him to help you sin no more. Yeah. Thank God for every blessing in your life, the little ones and the big ones. Change your vocabulary. Get rid of the word look, introduce the word blessing. It will change the way you see things. It will change your perspective, which changes everything. Maybe you have someone in your life that you would really like to come to God, but they're just not there. Pray for them. Remember when you're praying to shut up and listen to, but pray for them. Pray for that person, for God to rend their heart open and to touch them. But also pray not just for that person's to be touched by God. Pray that they start praying. Right? Because if they start praying, I promise you, that's them seeking God. Once they start praying, the door will be open, right? Because once you seek, the door will be open. Once you knock, right? You just got to get them into prayer. Ask them to pray for you when you got stuff going on. Get them in prayer. And let God do the rest. Recommend the show Chosen to them. I know people that watched the show Chosen and started reading the Bible because they went, yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. Best story ever told. Just happens to have the benefit of also being historically accurate and true. Read this guy. Don't read this version. This is the worst version I own. It's just the one I grabbed to get out. But read this guy. I'm not telling you that he had a vision or saw an angel or whatever. I don't know. But boy, the punishments in this book are cherry picked for the things they did. Unbelievable. Took him years to write this. Y'all have a beautiful and blessed day. Make sure you pray today. Pray for everyone in your life, whether you love them or not so much. Pray for the leadership. Pray for anyone living under Sharia law, y'all. Look. The Muslim faith, there is not a moderate. Everybody says, well, I know moderate. No, you don't. You know one that doesn't want to push it down your throat until he thinks he has the advantage. That's what you know. If they are genuinely moderate, then they're not genuinely Muslim. The Quran is very clear in its teachings. There are no loopholes. Remember that there was a place called Persia that was mighty and powerful. And it's Iran now. And it's Iran now not because of some great war that went on. It's Iran now, or Iran. It's Iran, whatever, I don't care. Say it however you want to. It is that place now. And it is that place now because Persia gave a ton of Muslims a safe harbor. You could come and be here. This was while Catholics, frankly, Christianity was trying to push them out because they were killing. Look, those two faiths can never get along. That's what people say. The Muslim faith can't get along with anybody. If you don't believe me, go read it for yourself. Go read the Quran for yourself and see. We are nothing in the Quran but things to be eliminated. So, you recognize that when enough Muslims get into a place, they take it over. And they get rid of. There is no more Parsi. They've all been gotten rid of. There's just, right? The ones that are there are treated horribly. The only peace. Christianity teaches peace and love and all these things. And it teaches what peace means in Christianity is for everyone to get along. Everyone to love one another and do for one another. That's what peace looks like in Christianity. It is not that everyone has to be the same faith. There can still be 7,000 kinds of Christianity, and that's okay. It is not that everyone has to agree. We can disagree and still get along. Right? Peace in the Quran is everyone is Muslim. That's the only answer. You understand? In the Quran, everyone is Muslim. If they're not, they have to either be killed or pay a tremendous fee so that they can worship how they choose. But they still can't worship how they choose. So if they do it outside, they still get beheaded. So they can worship how they choose inside closed doors with no windows open. How about that? Those are the only two choices if you're not going to be Muslim. I don't hate on anybody because that's what my faith teaches me. But it's impossible to have peace with a group of people who just want you dead. I love you. Jesus Christ loves you in ways I can't even imagine. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Pray today, y'all. Talk to God. And then shut up and listen for a few minutes. Might be surprised.